And this is the van you guys are going to be taking?
Yes.
Okay, they want to know that you know about this vehicle, that you know how it functions, you know what makes it safe, what makes it go, and all that old kind of stuff. Yeah, I can't see under here. But first you want to tell them, okay, I got my battery right here. And you want to tell them it's not damaged, it's not cracked or broken, it's not leaking, and that it's secure to the bus. The post, there's no bare or exposed or frayed wires. If there was bare or exposed wires or loose or hanging wires in there, you know, while you're driving and they're shaking and like that, they can touch and short out or cause some kind of damage or injury. Okay, you want to check, make sure you got your fluid cap here. Wash your fluid cap. You always make sure that it's not loose, it's not hanging, it's not leaking, and that it's secure to the bus. Your oil fill cap, same thing. It seats properly, it's not loose, it's not hanging, it's not leaking, and it's secure to the bus. Your transmission fluid right here, you pull out your stick, clean it once, put it back in and pull it out again. Now you need to know, and you need to let him know that you know, you can't get an accurate reading unless the bus is running. But we're checking it to make sure it has fluid and that it's clean. It should be pink or red in color. Okay, now the big thing about it, when you're doing it, if you can't see it, they're not worried about it, okay? You only need to tell them about the things that you can see. Like right now, I can see we have our alternator right there. Our alternator is not cracked or broken, it's not loose. Can you see it in there? It's not loose, it's not hanging, and it's secure to the bus. And it's belt driven. The alternator is belt driven. Okay, now you should have a water pump in there, which I can't see. Okay, water pump. It should be, it's right here. That thing with the black thing on it. It's not cracked, it's not broken, it's not loose, it's not hanging. It's not leaking. You see what I'm talking about? It's a little round thing, and the belt is going around it. I'll get up there and show you. This one right here. This. Okay? It's not leaking, it's not loose, it's not hanging. It's belt driven as well, and it's secure to the bus. This is your brake fluid. You just want to tell him that it's not leaking. No, this is your brake fluid. This is your power steering fluid. And just let him know that the level is proper. You've got proper level. The cap's not leaking out. Loose is not hanging. It's not leaking, and it's secure to the bus. Your hoses, you got hoses. There's no no bubbles in your hoses. They're not worn. They're not cut. They're not loose, they're not hanging, and they're secure to the bus. I guess these are your brake lines. I don't know what this is, but I'm imagining it's your brake lines, you know, to take the brake fluid. Yeah, it is. Okay, your brake fluid lines right here. That feeds your brakes. They're not loose, they're not hanging, they're not leaking, and they're secure to the bus. That's all you tell them. Everything on your bus is not loose, it's not hanging, it's not leaking. If it's liquid, if it's wires or whatever, they don't want no bare or exposed wires. And these here, just want to let them know, they're not bare or exposed wires, no loose or hanging wires, and they're secure to the bus. And then you got your oil dipstick right here. You know, everybody know how to check the oil, right? You pull it out, wipe it, put it back in. Fuses, these are your fuses. The box is not cracked, it's not broken, it's not loose, it's not hanging, and it's secure to the bus. There's your overflow for your radiator, your coolant, or coolant tank. It's not cracked, it's not broken, it's not loose, it's not hanging, it's not leaking, and it's secure to the bus. And like I said, they just want, if you can see it, then you talk about it. If you can't see it, they don't want to waste time with it.
The water pump is driven by the belt, as it says, and it's located down in that engine compartment around general this facility. It could be on the right side or the left side. I just don't know where it is.
But she knows because it's connected
this is a radiator and there's a fan behind it. Okay. The alternator is also back there. It's driven off of the fan belt that's turning, and that charges the battery. This is the radiator here. This is the radiator coolant reservoir that goes to here. And so this is the coolant level that shows you where it is, and it says the full level here. This is the overflow for the radiator that's here. Okay. The lines and hoses are not cracked. The oil level dipstick, it looks like right down here is your oil level dipstick. Pull this thing out. Okay. I think there's a latch on it, yeah. So to check the oil level, you want to pull it out, wipe it clean, and then put it back in, okay? Because when, I mean, the actual engine runs, the oil splashes around there, so it's not as always that clean. Power steering fluid, right here. This is the reservoir, okay? And you want to make sure it's not leaking. And the fluid level is up. Okay, which is, there's a little dipstick there too. Okay. Power steering pump, probably located right by the power steering fluid, so probably down in there, because that's where it goes down. Steering box, well, that's comes out of the steering column. This is the steering wheel, so it's down in this area. Don't point to that side because the steering wheel's on this side, so that's where the steering box is. Steering linkage and all that, it's also down there. Okay.
Sorry, can I add? This is where you pour in the oil, because you pointed where to check it.
Yeah.
But this is where you fill it.
Yeah. Although, or is that one the transmission?
That's transmission.
Well, this is the. You might be right. So then, where's the? Oh no.
No.
So this
the
is
dipstick's there. That is probably oil in.
Because it looks. That's the oil symbol.
Yeah.
So this is oil, but this is transmission fluid. Check.
And then the battery on that is right there, and it's securely mounted, because one of the biggest things is that a lot of people don't secure the batteries. So what happens in a crash is that if the metal hits, it can arc and it can cause a fire. So you want your batteries mounted. Okay.
Checking the
terminals
to make sure they're not, so they're clean and free of debris.
And there is a positive side and a negative side. This is a brake disc behind here.
Yeah.
And this is your brake caliper.
It's going like this.
And in your brake caliper, and right here is a brake pad. Basically what happens is that the caliper is like this, and the brake disc sits in between, and it spins and it rotates. And then when you press on the brakes, the brake pads come in and clamp on the caliper. That slows it down. Most vans have a drum brake in the rear and a disc brake in the front. Most passenger cars nowadays, they just have disc brakes. They're just much more efficient and they're better. But that is the caliper, that is the brake disc. The brake pads are inside. And then it's the exact same thing as far as the brake, lines and the fluids and stuff like that. But even on this car, if you can look in there, you'll see a spring.
Yeah. But
then you'll see the strut inside the middle. Okay, and so most cars are built like that. Vans, because of the weight and heavy duty, they're going to suffer some. This is your shock, and this is your spring. Shock, spring, okay. On most cars, the shock is inside the middle of the spring, but because it's heavy duty. But this is your shock absorber, this is your spring.
What?
Brake lines.
Okay.
So those are your hydraulic brake lines feeding the brake caliper, which is behind the wheel. You are also looking for any cracks, any leaks, any sort of things, especially at the joints. In cars speak, they're called nipples, but it's where these things join. Those are the nipples, and you want to make sure there's no sort of leaks or fluids and things like that. Generally speaking, if you have a soft brake pedal, meaning you're pressing on the brakes and it's going farther down to the floor, you have probably a brake fluid issue because there's not enough brake fluid into the system. So unlike the front that has springs and the shocks, that's a leaf spring, because this is going to get really complicated.
But believe it or not, you have to speak as if you know what you're talking about.
We'll let you know, okay? The front is an independent suspension, because the right wheel can go up and down, and the left wheel can stay down, because of potholes it does this. This, because it's a leaf spring and it's connected to a solid axle, When one wheel goes down, the opposite wheel goes up because they're connected together. But it's a leaf spring. It's a very crude suspension. It came out of, believe it or not, the Wells Fargo coaches and stuff like that. That's how long the leaf spring suspension's been around. But that's a leaf spring down there.
How can you tell if there's a problem with it?
Well, if you crawled underneath it, there's a U-joint. You see that leaf spring? And you see how there's those U-joint brackets that go around the axle?
I failed this part, Maribel, so I'm hoping the Dave can help you.
Right here. You see this? You see this leaf spring?
Yeah.
You see how it's attached to the axle around the U-bolt?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, you try to see if those things are cracked, if there's any splitting on the actual leaf springs itself, and also you want to see if they're attached to the rear axle. Wheels to the car is an axle. Okay, and you just want to check for leaks and stuff. In this thing down here, if you look on the axle, you see that thing sort of hanging down?
Mm-hmm.
That's called the pumpkin. And that's the pumpkin in the differential that basically drives the right side and the left side. And you definitely don't want fluid coming out of your differential.
Okay.
You know, in car talk, it's called the diff. And they call that the pumpkin because in there is where all the driving gears are. And so you don't want oil, you don't want leakage. Basically what you want to do is you want to spot check. Every time you park it, you come back to it, you want to look, is there anything leaking on the bottom of the car? You pull out of the parking spot, you see oil drippings, you see this. If it's in the front, it's probably coming out of the motor. If it's in the rear, it's probably coming from the diff. If it's in the middle, it's probably coming from the trans, right? So then you're looking for spots. Spins, you know how you have the RPMs on your car? That's revolution per minute in the engine, but it also spins the drive shaft. So if there's drive shaft problems, there's a lot of vibration that can be caused, and you can feel that. Right? Similar to a suspension is that if you're driving along and you feel a vibration or the suspension's starting to shake and go up like that, it could be a shock problem, a strut problem, it could be a leaf spring is loose, it could be a tire going down, it could be a variety of things, but generally vibration is bad, and vibration leads to other things sort of wearing out because there's play and things like that.
So the
Check your tire for any nails or any punctures, right? Nails, screws, or whatever.
Want to check your ABCs,
ABCs, which are
abrasions, bubbles, or cuts.
Right.
Cuts.
valve stem.
Valve stem with the cap on.
Is it loose or
Is
hanging?
it loose or hanging? No. It's secured to the bus.
Is it leaking?
Nope. It's not leaking. You can put your ear to the thing.
Valve stem.
To hear if it's.
Make sure it's not leaking.
And if you don't have it, you can still say that.
You can still say that it's okay. My bus functions fine without it.
It won't affect the safe operation of my bus.
You will check for brake dust,
Excessive,
brake dust,
which would indicate
brake wear,
excessive brake wear.
excessive brake wear. And you want to check if your nuts are secured and tight, and that all of them are there. And then you want to make sure it's not rusty. Because
Rust or moisture inside.
Yeah.
Rust or moisture,
inside
which would indicate what?
that is loose.
Disc brakes in the front,
Yeah.
drum brakes in the back. They're checked weekly by the mechanics for wear or damage. Okay?
Right. Then we're gonna move on to this part right here. This is our rear view mirror. We're gonna shake it up, make sure it's not loose or anything.
Loose or hanging,
Loose or hanging.
secured to the bus.
Yeah, it's secured to the bus.
Everything has to be secured to the bus.
Loose hanging and secured to the bus.
Right.
That's good.
What about the mirror?
Mirror, it's not chipped, cracked,
Or broken?
or broken.
Because if it was chipped, cracked, or broken, that would be a safety issue, correct?
Yes.
That's what we want to do, making sure that everything about this vehicle is safe. Okay.
Not chipped, cracked, or broken. And secured to the bus.
Step.
Step. it's not loose, and it's secured to the bus.
How about your door?
Door opens nice. It's not loose or hanging. It's secured to the bus.
And it closes the seats properly.
Yep. Close it properly.
Okay.
And then
Driver window.
window.
Driver window.
Get him, girl.
Get him.
Not cracked, broken or chipped.
Put your hands on it, man. Yeah, you gotta touch it and talk about it.
It's not cracked yet. And it's secured to the bus. This window over here, I don't see any cracks,
It's not
chips
cracked,
or
chipped, or
broken, and it's secured to the bus. It's not hanging or anything. I'm gonna check our thing. Fuel cap, nice and tight.
Is it leaking?
Not leaking.
The seats properly?
Yeah, it's secured to the bus.
The door?
This is nice. It's not hanging. It's not loose. It's secured to the bus. Put it back here. No cracks, no chips. It's not broken. Secured to the bus. Got the drum brakes over here. Back tires. We're gonna do our ABCs, checking if there's any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and checking this even tire wear, tread wear.
230 seconds.
230 seconds on the tread
In the back?
back.
Oh, one more thing about these tires I forgot. Okay, when you replace your front tires, they have to be replaced with brand new tires. You cannot use recaps, or re-grooves. You can't use them on the front, but you can in the back. Okay. And you have to check for punctures, remember? Nails, screws, glass, or any punctures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we have to state that at our test when we replace our tires?
It has to be replaced with new tires in the front. That's something that you need to know as well. That's a safety issue as well.
Check the hover cap, nice and secured to the bus, not loose or hanging. Check all of our nuts,
Lug nuts.
nuts, to see if they're all there and make sure they're not loose or hanging
Make sure they're tight.
and tight, and to see if there's any rust. And if there's no rust, then
Or moisture.
moisture, that's good.
Would
And that
indicate
means
what?
that it's tight.
There's no rest of moisture, which would indicate that it's loose, right?
Loose. Our
Valve stem.
valve stem for the air pressure. You want to make sure that it's not loose or hanging, and that it's secured to the bus, and that you have your cap.
Is it leaking?
It's not leaking. It's screwed on tight. That's good.
How would you test your air pressure in your tire?
You tap the top with a rubber hammer.
A rubber mallet or
Uh,
air pressure gauge?
air pressure gauge.
Right. Okay.
Brake line. What are these?
Those are, I think, are electricity. Those are the wires going from your battery to your lights.
Okay. And then we got our shocks right here.
That's not shocks. Those are nuts or whatever.
Those are leaf springs?
Yeah, that's right there. And they're not loose and they're hanging and they're secured to the bus.
I took it already.
Yeah, they don't do the like nickel test or anything, bringing out a nickel on the tread or the depth or anything else. Okay.
So you got your Class Bs?
Yeah.
So how we doing?
Pretty good.
You gotta check the mirror over here.
That's not a mirror.
And then you gotta check the light over here. Rear view light. Make sure that it's on and working. Works fine. It's not cracked, chipped, or broken.
Works properly.
Works properly and secured to the bus.
See, if you get into a habit and get into a routine, you know, how you say it, then it'll just flow and you won't forget anything. You know, you won't forget anything. Right.
Stop looking at the camera.
Because when you get out there, you know, and if you can remember everything I told you, you know, memorizing it, but then that's not learning it. that says remember it, and then he's going to ask you a question. You know, and you don't want him to ask you nothing. You want to give him as much information as you know about this bus, so you don't have to ask you nothing. Here you go. Now crack chips are broken, it works properly, and it's secure to the bus.
Crack chip. Works properly, it's secure to the bus. Check our bumper. Not loose or hanging, it's secure to the bus. We're gonna check windows right here. Not cracked, chipped or broken, and it's secure to the bus. Check this one, the same. Not cracked, chipped or broken, and it's secure to the bus. Okay. Check our drawers. They work nicely. Not loose or hanging, and it's secure to the bus. Looks fine. Come to our review properly. And they close properly. Got a license plate over here. Make sure that it has 2 bolts. At least 2 bolts to the top. The registration. It's up to date. And we're going to check the last 3 numbers to make sure they match with the last 3 numbers in the front. And on the registration. And
You got a light in there.
check the light. Check the light. The light works too.
Is it cracked, chipped, or broken?
It's not cracked, chipped, or broken. Works fine.
And it's secure to the bus.
And it's secure to the bus.
He's telling you about your signage.
Yeah.
Visible and legible.
The signage is visible and legible. And it's not cracked, chipped.
You see? Right there. Right there. You say not cracked, chipped, or broken. He gonna say this man don't know what he's talking about because the number ain't gonna be cracked, chipped, or broken.
Alright.
You got another side of your bumper.
Checking the other side of the bumper. It's not loose or hanging. And it's secured to the bus. Can I turn the car?
Well, yeah, you do.
But you want to check that there's not excessive smoke coming out of the exhaust. That means that the exhaust is
That'll be hot. You can't put
You don't
your
want to
hand
touch
on
it,
that.
man. You just tell him it's not loose, it's not hanging.
It's not hanging.
It's just excessive pull.
no excessive smoke.
Okay? So you forgot this light.
And check the light. No cracks. It's not broken. It's not cracked, chipped, or broken, and it works fine. And it's secure to the bus.
Just do it systematic. All the way around. Drop the bottom. Drop the bottom.
Check the window. It's not cracked, chipped.
Get in your bus. When you get in your bus, you want to make sure you use your 3 points of contact for safe entry. 1, 2, 3. 3 points of contact for safe entry, right? So 3 points of contact.
3 points of contact.
For safe entry.
And then
And you
check
check
the step.
Right.
Let's see if it's not loose or hanging. And it's secured to the bus. You want to check for oil, water,
Spills or debris. Good job. Good job.
See if so that there's no slip, trips, or falls.
Right.
Make sure this is nice and secure, not loose or hanging. It's secured to the bus. Windows work, everything phones work.
Okay, get on in your seat. At 100 feet before you get to the railroad tracks, you put on your 4 ways at 100 feet, and then 50 feet, between 15 and 50 feet, you stop your bus, open your windows, and when it's safe that you can safely pass by more than 15 feet, then you proceed. Then once you get across the tracks, then and only then do you turn off your 4-way flashers. Okay? While you're driving, they're also going to ask you that, did you see that sign? What did that street sign say? When you go over an overpass, he's going to ask you. After you pass it, he's going to wait till you pass it, then he's going to ask you, okay, what was the height of that overpass? because they want you to be paying attention to what's going on with the commercial signs. They want you to be paying attention to everything that's going on around you while you're driving. He's going to watch you. He's not going to say anything to you, but he's going to watch you to see how often you check your mirrors. You should check your mirrors every 5 to 8 seconds. Every 5 to 8 seconds, you just check the mirrors. Okay? Looking ahead, while you're driving straight ahead, you want to be looking about what? We say 15 seconds ahead. So you want to see what's happening 15 seconds ahead of you. From there to back to you and checking your mirrors. That's called scanning. What else? Just those road signs. Keep your head and eyes moving. You know, keep scanning, checking what's going on around you. When you're making your right-hand turns, they want you to be about 3 feet from the curb, you know, so you get in there. I teach my guys 18 inches, you know, because these bicycles, we don't want the bicycles coming up the right side of our bus. If you do something that's illegal against the law, he's going to stop you right there and take you back home. If you make a mistake is a mistake, you know. And if it's not against the law, he'll give you a check for it that you made a mistake, but he won't send you home for that. I had one guy, he went out there and he forgot to do his air brake test, and he forgot to even inspect the back of the bus, but he still passed because he was thorough with everything else that he did, that he accumulated enough points. When you get in the driver's seat of the vehicle, first thing you want to do is adjust your seat and your mirrors. In that order, your seat first and your mirrors. Make sure you let him know I'm adjusting my seat and my mirrors for me, because the mirrors will look different for you than they would for her. So you have to adjust your mirrors for yourself and make sure he knows this. When you're getting ready to put on your seatbelt, make sure he knows I'm checking my seatbelt. Make sure it's not cut, frayed, worn, or torn, and that it locks properly. And then, you know, you go through all of this. Every time you get in there, make sure you let him know that you're checking that, because he's going to be listening. He won't say nothing, but he'll be listening. Adjust your steering wheel for you.
Everything works over here. We got the cruise control on and off. We set mechanically, toast. Steering works just fine. If I wanted to check my gap,
no more than 2 inches of play in the steering wheel.
No more than 2 inches of play. And checking the gauges.
The first thing you do when you get in the seat, what did I tell you?
Seat and your mirrors and
the first thing you do when you get in there.
So the first thing you do when you said...
No, you're not telling us. That's what you were supposed to do.
That's what you're supposed to do, right? Adjust your seat.
I'm adjusting my seat.
I'm adjusting my seat for myself.
And my mirrors.
And my mirror.
For me.
And steering wheel.
And then we need a seatbelt. We need a seatbelt. Every time you get in here.
Okay.
We're going to tell you about the seatbelt. As you
It
put it
works
in.
properly. It's not ripped.
Cut torn or a break. Alright. And it locks in properly.
And it locks in properly, works properly.
Okay.
Then if I want to check my gauges, brakes. I want to check my brakes. So I pump it 3 times. And the third one, I just hold it. And then I shouldn't be able to go all the way down to the floor. And it works.
Did you have to do that?
Yep, and I also had to do try to put it in park and put the handbrake on and try to drive and see how, you know.
Your emergency brake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Had to test the emergency brake too.
Right, you got that brake test here. Okay.
Should
We'll get there in a minute. You can tell me about all this.
I'm checking my gauges work. They work properly. And,
What gauges?
The RPMs.
Okay, so you're going to tell me about each individual gauge, right?
There's an RPM gauge that works properly. Gas gauge works properly. This is oil, right?
That's water.
Water works properly.
Is your oil?
Oil over here.
Yeah.
Works properly. Battery gauge works properly.
Speedometer?
Speedometer, miles per hour, works properly.
Four ways.
What? Oh, my 4 ways brakes properly, hazard lights, and I'm gonna go from park to reverse
With the beeper.
neutral with the beeper
In the back, right?
in the back, and also as a
Oh, I didn't see that. That's cool.
neutral, drive, 2 second gear, low gear 1. Use these 2 for if you're going uphill or downhill. Park.
Okay, let's do it. Like she said, you gotta put on your emergency brake. But that should be on anyway, all the time when you're not moving.
Okay.
You should always set your emergency brake. Okay, you got it in there? Good?
Yep.
Push it in there good. Okay, let's put it in drive. Let's go to,
Give a little gas, yeah.
and it should hold the bus. Accelerate a little bit. Just a little bit.
Back up, back up.
There we go. See, the emergency brake works. See that? Leave that emergency brake on. If you're not going nowhere, you might as well have the emergency brake on.
Okay.
You put it in drive.
Okay, what about these?
This is adjust the wheel for myself. I'm going to
Okay.
adjust the wheel for myself,
Okay.
and it's this is the lights over here. It's not loose or hanging. It works properly. This is my indicators over here. It's not loose or hanging, and it works properly. My windshield wipers, overdrive,
With
on it.
fluid?
High beams. Works
Windshield
fine.
wipers with fluid?
I didn't want to spray you.
That's good.
This is for the light on the dashboard.
I don't think we forgot anything.
You got it all.
We're nice and thorough. We got to be thorough. That's what he wants. He wants to know that you know that how to assure that this is a safe bus.
Okay.
He want to know that you know that. That's all he's concerned about.
One of the things that I had to do, we had to show that we had the
Emergency
flares,
kit?
yep,
Yeah. Emergency kit and flares.
the triangles,
Right. All that's part of your inside pre-trip.
yeah. So I had to show that I had them.
Right.
And I had my San Francisco 49ers hat.
Pablo.
He might ask you, or you can ask him when you're showing your triangles, ask him, do he want you to set one up? More than likely he'll say no, but you know, you need to know how to set it up just in case he says yeah. Do you know how?
To set up a triangle? Well, yeah.
You know how?
I just did it.
Just like that.
Yeah.
You just unfold them and they're triangles like that.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
What are we looking at right now? This guy just stole our van and our employees.
Once he has to feed them, he'll bring them back.
Yeah, you're right. Especially Vita. Is this the offset?
I'm not
Back
sure.
up straight through all the tunnels.
Oh, this is the backup straight. This is the backing up straight. It's the offset.
Yeah, he's gonna go into that one.
Hey, Keisha,
Yes, sir.
on that